We can all remember the mountain of debris and rubble that was there. Sometimes, you know, to be able to wear a protective mask like we wear into a fire isn't, by the time you get to where you want to get to, you'd have to have a new supply.
As we remember a great tragedy in American history, the death toll from the September 11th attacks 17 years ago continues to climb to this day. And the numbers show deaths from after effects are on track to outnumber fatalities occurring on that day. Valley News Team's Rose Itzkovitz has more on those numbers and how response to the attacks has affected the way local protectors protect themselves in emergencies.
On Veterans Memorial Bridge early Tuesday, locals joined area rescuers to remember the fallen victims of 9/11.
To honor such a significant event in our country's history, but to also honor all those that died that day.
The official number of deaths from that day is just less than 3,000. But 17 years later, the attacks on the World Trade Center are still claiming lives.
The toll will be, I think, beyond our comprehension.
According to data from the World Trade Center Health Program, of those receiving care for 9/11's after effects, nearly 1,800 are now deceased. But that's just a tiny fraction of all those exposed on that day.
The things in that dust, you know, were plaster and asbestos, glass fragments.
The CDC estimates some 400,000 people were exposed to caustic and toxic dust from the collapse of the World Trade Center buildings on 9/11.
They may not show up for a couple years, but then over time, they start to wear the body down and a cancer develops.
When we went down to the Trade Center site, we didn't wear respirators, we didn't wear masks, we didn't wear any eye protective gear. It just never occurred to us.
They had their equipment, but it was quickly overrun. I mean, the magnitude of an event like that, there's no department in the world that is ready to respond to that type of event.
Fargo Chief Steve Dirkson's been a firefighter for 29 years. He says he's seen a culture change in his profession since that fateful day 17 years ago.
There's new policies and procedures on how you decontaminate your clothing after a fire before you even get back in the truck, and doing a good job to extract those products of combustion, getting rid of those chemicals.
But he says one other lasting effect the day had on him:
rejuvenated our country and our faith and working and building on one another and taking care of each other.
In Fargo, Rose Itzkovitz, Valley News Live.
We also spoke with the chairman of a memorial wall in New York that is dedicated to victims of after effects from 9/11. Right now, the number of names on that wall is around 1,000. We're told this weekend more than 150 more names will be added to that list.